What would make a man suddenly turn on his own family without warning? No drugs, no cheating, no history of violence. That's what makes this case so disturbing. No obvious motive. Just a sudden eruption of violence from a man who, by all appearances, had been living a normal life. What followed was a devastating act of domestic brutality that left 2 people dead, including a child and another child fighting to survive. In 2013, death row inmate Cedric Ricks was living with his partner, Roxanne Sanchez, at the Colonial Village Apartments in Bedford. Though not legally married, they considered themselves common-law spouses. Roxanne, a 30-year-old medical assistant, had 2 sons from a previous relationship, 12-year-old Marcus Figueroa and 8-year-old Anthony Figueroa. She and Ricks also shared a 9-month-old baby named Isaiah Ricks. Online photos painted a picture of a loving, happy, affectionate couple. Nothing outwardly suggested the horror that was about to unfold. On May 1st, 2013, around 7 p.m., Roxanne returned from the store with her 3 children. She parked outside the apartment building and began carrying groceries upstairs. The boys went into a bedroom while she went back down for more bags. Moments after Roxanne re-entered the apartment, then came screams. Marcus and Anthony rushed out of the bedroom and saw Ricks attacking their mother in the living room. They tried to pull him off her, but he shoved them aside and continued punching her as she lay on the floor. Suddenly, he stopped, walked to the kitchen, grabbed a knife, returned, and began stabbing her repeatedly. Marcus ran to the bedroom, grabbed a phone, and called 911. While he was still speaking to the dispatcher, Ricks stormed in and stabbed him. Marcus managed to escape back to the living room, where he saw his mother and younger brother lying on the floor, bleeding heavily. Ricks caught him again and continued stabbing. Marcus collapsed and pretended to be dead. By the time it was over, he had suffered roughly 25 stab wounds miraculously. None fatal. His mother and brother were not as fortunate. It's unclear why the police response took as long as it did. Investigators believe Marcus may not have had time to give a full address during the call, and in 2013, cell phone location tracing was slower than today. That delay gave Ricks time to wash his hands, shower, change clothes, pack belongings, and place baby Isaiah safely in a crib before fleeing in Roxanne's 2011 Nissan Altima. While driving, he called a cousin and confessed, saying he had killed Roxanne and her boys. He asked her to go get the baby and admitted his hands were badly cut from the attack. When she urged him to surrender, he replied he would rather die than go to prison. After hanging up, she immediately called 911 and relayed everything. Investigators tracked his phone with help from Sprint, which showed him traveling north near Ardmore along Interstate 35 in Oklahoma. Around 10:30 p.m., roughly 3 hours after the attack, state troopers stopped the vehicle without incident. Ricks was arrested and taken to a hospital for treatment of deep cuts on his hands. In the weeks that followed, he fought extradition back to Texas, but failed. While jailed in Oklahoma, he was beaten badly by other inmates and hospitalized again. After being returned to Texas, he requested isolation housing, fearing for his safety. Prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. On May 8, 2014, a jury found him guilty of capital murder. 8 days later, on May 16, 2014, he was sentenced to death, meaning he has now spent nearly 12 years on death row, a comparatively short time. Compared to many capital cases, Marcus eventually went to live with his biological father. Baby Isaiah was taken in by Roxanne's parents, who planned to adopt him and legally change his last name. A final step toward giving the surviving child a future separated from the violence that destroyed his family. With an execution date now scheduled for March 11, 2026, the case draws renewed attention to Texas death row procedures, last-minute appeals, and the enduring debate over capital punishment in the modern era. Court records show Ricks' direct appeal and subsequent state and federal petitions have all been denied. Federal courts have also rejected requests that would have allowed him to continue appealing his case. If stories like this interest you, subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on more true crime cases, death row stories, and upcoming execution reports.